less than a week ago, it was announced that Winterfox would be undergoing some roster changes. And these aren't just ordinary roster changes. These are some that are quite shocking in all respects and carry some strange implications and also conjure up kind of some strange ideas as to how did they arrive at these roster swaps. Now, first and foremost, you have to say that the team wasn't doing well. They weren't performing well despite having gone to a career, gotten these Korean players, had a boot camp out there, supposedly picked the right players that they wanted. They'd gotten rid of all the old EG players when they used to be evil geniuses like Snoopy, Yellow Pete, Krebel. They're all gone, so you can't blame it on like, oh, it's old players who aren't good anymore, whatever people would say is the reasoning, you know. Now it's all these young guys, or it's people who are Koreans, or it's people who are going to have a chance now and succeed, but the results are pretty poor overall. So they made the decision that they would take Imagine, the support player, out of the lineup, make him a sub. They would take their AD carry, Altec, who's considered a prospect in NA. They'd make their AD carry, Altec, into the support player now, a role swap. And then to fill the AD carry position, they'd take Paragon, their coach, who formerly was an AD carry in OGN, and put him in as the AD carry. Now, before I get to, like, what do I think of these individual moves, what are the implications of these moves, before we get to that, I'm sure, like you, as I saw these moves happen, like, wait a minute, the AD carry is moving to the support position, and then the coach is becoming the starting AD carry. I'm sure, like you, though, I probably thought, well, I know I thought, like, what the fuck? Like, how did they arrive at those sets of decisions and in that order? So let me kind of put myself into the frame of mind of maybe what Winterfox were like. So I don't have flashy getting skills, which is a way of saying I'm not going to learn them, I'm not going to do them. So all I'll do when I'm doing the different roles within Winterfox is when I face this way, I'll be Paragon, the coach. When I face this way, I will be one of the players in Winterfox. So I mean, it has to be someone who wasn't in the bot lane, who wasn't directly involved. So let's say Beltre, okay. So Paragon comes into the practice room and he sees Beltre there. Beltre's like practicing on solo queue, pulling off like some sick mechanics, like really aggressive, decisive play, like totally outlaning the other guy, you know, like all that stuff that he does on solo queue. And he comes in and he says like Beltre Dongsan or whatever. He says, Beltre, listen, I'm not happy with these results. I know you're not happy with these results. You know, we need a better team. We need a better team around you. Something's got to change, you know. I mean, I feel like we've got to get rid of that guy. And Beltre just responds and he says like, phew, I'm so glad you said that. Like, I totally agree with you. I saw this coming a long while ago, but I didn't want to say anything to make it awkward. So when do we tell Avalon? Avalon? What are you talking about? Like, I'm talking about Altec. We're going to get that guy and do something about him, right? Altec, isn't he one of our best players? No. You're not looking at the bigger picture here, okay? Altec currently plays AD carry for us, right? But the problem is, I want to get rid of Imagine, okay? Oh, phew, because I mean, I don't know what. I'm a bit confused, but it sounded like you were going to get rid of Altec, and he's like, probably one of our best players, and he's like a pretty good AD carry overall. Probably has a lot of upside, you know. No. I'm gonna get rid of him, but I'm not gonna get rid of him. You know, and so my plan is like, you know, Imagine that new guy that we got, that support player. It's not working out with him as a support player. Yeah, isn't that because he was actually like a jungler when he was in Korea? Listen, let's not split hairs on this. He's just not working out as a support player, okay? And let's not point fingers and blame anyone. It just so happens he's not working out, okay? So you would agree with me, we could have a better support player, right? I mean, that's not really deniable, but I mean, where does Altec come into this? You know, he's an AD carry. I'm glad you said that because I've been thinking about this. You know, Koreans, we're known to be able to come up with innovative strategies, new ways to use champions, kind of think outside the box. And I've been thinking about young Altec, and you know what? I've actually realised he is a born support player. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what do you mean? He plays AD carry, mechanics seem pretty strong, seems like an aggressive player. No. Think about it. Think about him as a person, because, you know, you have to express who you are as a person inside the game. That's where the great players come from, you know. So as a person, he's kind of quiet, kind of mild-mannered. He always wants to help around the house. I mean, you know, when that manager was making him do all that chimney sweeping last season, you know, helping around. Plus, he still sleeps in the maids' quarters. He's used to helping out. You know, he's just there at our beck and call. he's a natural support player. You know, he should be there. He should be helping in lane. He should be roaming, placing a few wards here and there, making use of himself, you know, keep that roof over his head. And I think we should bring someone else in for the AD carry position. It's like, I mean, I guess, but the problem is though, if we move him to support, then who do we get to play AD carry? Yeah, see, I've been thinking about that too. Because we'd probably, like, if you were thinking, listen, just hypothetical, just hear me out here. If you wanted an AD carry, and it's kind of like money is no option, no object, you'd want someone with experience. You'd want an experienced AD carry who knows what he's doing. He's played the role. He's not going to be affected by the meta. He's got some experience under his belt. He's a veteran. Yeah, I agree. I mean, hypothetically, yeah, you would want that. And he'd need to be someone who did what the coach said, who got along with the coaching staff. He wasn't going to be a problem with what the coach wanted. In fact, it'd almost be sort of like one mind between the coach and this guy. You know, what the coach said, this guy put into action. Yeah, good point. I see what you mean. Okay. And of course, the dream would be if he was Korean as well. Like, if he was a Korean player and he'd played in OGN, the best league in the world, and he had experience, if he'd had success in OGN, I mean, that would be like, listen, if money was no object, he'd be experienced, he'd have played in OGN, he'd be Korean, he'd do what the coach said. I mean, we can agree, these would be the qualities that if we were to find such a player, I don't know where we'd find such a player, I'm just saying, then this would definitely be the best option, right? You must agree with me here, Beltre. I mean, I can't deny it. I mean, that sounds like it would be the best option. But where are we going to find someone who fits all that criteria at such short... Yeah? Go on. Yeah? It's me, isn't it? It's me. Yeah. Experienced. I do what the coach said because I'm the coach. Korean. Look at me. Korean as fuck. That guy was partially Chinese or something in his genetics. I'm Korean as fuck, bro. And in fact, we're now talking in Korean the whole time. People might naively have thought it was English, but actually this is dubbed. And I was actually a pretty good AD carry, And also, yeah, I played in OGN. I actually came fourth once. You probably didn't know it, did you, Paul Beltre? Because at the time, you were like 14 years old and you had all that potential ahead of you. You could have been a great player. So anyway, yeah, you see where I'm going there. So anyway, now that the role play section is over now. The comedy section is over. Now I can go into the actual analysis. So first things first, let's talk about the player they're moving out of the lineup, Imagine. Now, as I kind of alluded to in that role play there, the strangest part about Imagine not working out as a support player is, yeah, he's actually not a support player. Like, I don't really know what you were thinking about there. If you go looking at the history of Imagine, as far as I can tell, when I've gone back and looked at some of his games and his old teams he played on, he was a jungler. He played jungle champions, played like fucking Jarvan the Fourth. So I don't know why he was put into support in the first place. Like, where's the logic there? Okay, maybe they tried him out in Korea and they were like, this is working out. Like, yeah, it's going to be good. And you know what? He synergizes well, the rest of the team, all that bullshit. But whatever, it didn't work out. Listen, that's fine if it's not working out and you want to bring someone else in. But that's where it gets a bit strange. Because, okay, if we're going to take Imagine out and we're going to put someone else in there, then why are we going to put Altec as the support player? Like, presumably it's because they also maybe have some issue with Altec and they don't want to get rid of him entirely. Now, if that's the case, this really doesn't make sense. Just stick with Altec then and take your chances with a different support player and hope it works out and he has a better synergy. Because in terms of Altec, hey, the guy seemed like a prospect. Listen, I never bought into the hype that he was like better than Doublelift, but he was like held back by his team and everyone held him down. Because the problem is people use that for like 2 or 3 different players in that same lineup last season all the time. It's like, how badly can the guys who you do hit actually suck? So anyway, they had the issue where it was like, he definitely wasn't one of the big problems in Evil Genius, Winterfox rather. He was good. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't super sick, but he's decent. And yeah, it seemed like Benjamin hadn't had that much competitive experience. There maybe was still a bit of upside where he was going to develop some more. And if you found the right support player, remember the support player wasn't very good. So again, if he's supposed to be good and he's supposed to have potential, how's he supposed to express that without a good support player? So getting him a better support player would seem like a better solution to me. But anyway, they decide to let him move over to support. And here's what's weird: they didn't say, like, we looked at it as the coaching staff and the owners, and we thought to ourselves, like, it would be better if he played support and he could do it. And then we discussed it with him and he was like, yeah, I'm on board with this, I'll try it out. And we let him try it out and we analysed it and said, this is good, he's a good support. What they said is, as if to sort of justify it, was like, oh, he asked to move to support. Actually, he wanted to move to support. Like, Well, he's not the boss of the fucking team, is he? Like, what are you talking about right now? You don't just get to pick what you want. Essentially, you're co-signing it no matter what by letting the move happen. So don't bill it as like, oh, the main reason we did it is because he wanted to do it. I mean, imagine if fucking CLG came out tomorrow like, yeah, Doublelift's playing jungler now. Like, what the fuck? Does he ever play jungler? No, but he really likes it. Like, he's totally into it. He's going to do that. Yeah, and it's going to work out. Guys, you're going to love it. He said so. He's the boss. Although, actually, we could make some jokes about the way CLG actually runs there. But I'll just leave it at that for the moment. That's a hypothetical for you there. So anyway, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to move Altec over. Now, in terms of moving Paragon into the lineup, this is the one that might shock you. Actually, I'm not that against that in general, because first of all, the thing about Paragon is he was never bad. There was actually a time he was good. When he used to play on Team OP, when it was in OGN Spring, the first season in 2012, they finished 4th in that season overall, and I was watching some of the VODs back when I went back to look through that season to watch Loco Doco's career when he was on Frost, when I did my article about him. He was decent. In fact, for that era, he was good. Now, in the context of later League of Legends, yeah, he was pretty decent to good when he was on Incredible Miracle, early 2013, late 2012, going through that period. By the time you get to 2014, I want to watch some games of him. He's not good, like he's not above average for OGN level, but he's decent. He's consistent, he's stable, he has a lot of experience, he knows what the fuck he's doing, he's not just going to get his head caved in unless he's some like fucking imp or something like that. So actually I don't mind this move in that sense. That could provide some stability there, and jokes aside, he would know what the coach wants to do and what his idea is to implement within the team. If they can shore that up, okay, that's the thing there. But he doesn't have the upside of Altec. I don't really know that he won't be a considerable upgrade over Altec. I'd say it's probably similar, bearing in mind maybe a bit less upside, but more experience. I could see that working out okay. But then the bigger question is, not only is Altec moving to support, and there's a massive risk of that not working out, but also, you haven't addressed the real issue on the team, which, let's face it, is the top laner. The top laner is the worst player by far on that team. I mean, he's Helios's brother, so I guess we live in some sort of ridiculous, like, nepotistic world now, where because he's the brother of Helios, magically, Helios doesn't criticize him. He doesn't say about how that top laner doesn't do his job and is shit and fucking feeds all the time, can't have a proper game impact. It's weird how Helios, who, like, had no problem trashing Flame, probably the best top laner ever, spoke negatively of the time when he was in Frost. Actually, did he talk about that one? I'm trying to think. There was another team he talked a bit of shit on. I don't know if it was Najin or Frost. It might have been Najin. Anyway, he apparently had problems playing with all these baller-ass top laners, but magically, when his brother plays and just feeds like a motherfucker, he's like, leave him alone. The lad's doing his best. Come on, all together now. We win as a team and we lose as a team. Yeah, but we're actually never winning as a team. Remember? That's the motto. Win as a team. When Blaze won that OGN and that MLG... and that IEM, and almost won that OGN, that wasn't Flame and that Reaper and the Ambition, that was the team effort. I did 20% of the effort that. You can't argue with that maths. I am Helios. So anyway, jokes aside, I don't really understand what the obsession with keeping the Avalon guy is. Like, especially as if you were going to change positions, obviously I'm not going to say put Paragon top lane, but I'd have kept this lineup. If you're going to do roster changes, maybe think about support, that's fine. Think about, actually, yeah, was he the worst top? I don't know. Between top and support, it's hard to tell, really. Why not change both of them? Why not get NA players in? I know, fucking shocking. What am I saying? Or maybe get another Korean player in. I'm sure there's some decent Korean player out there who's better than Imagine at support who's still available. Or maybe even top laner who can play better than this guy. Like, there's enough challenger players out there that it'd be worth another gamble over what they had at the moment. Because the Avalon guy, yeah, it's not really working out, to be honest. So there's the general trend overall. The problem with it is every move is confusing in a sense. What's amazing is the Paragon one, where the coach has put himself in. It's actually the least annoying move, or the least move that raises any ire in me or makes me think, what a stupid move. That seems fine, actually, extracted from the context of the rest of the moves. Now, with that said, there is an implication there that I don't like, which is unfortunately this. Unless you're talking about like Reapered or Matter or some like godlike player who not only was a god in individual play, but could lead the whole team from within the game and was the total shot caller, I think it's a really bad idea to have the coach play in the games. First and foremost, because it doesn't make the coach as accountable as all the other players, because there isn't a coach who can come in separate to his performance and go, you played shit. Well, you wouldn't say that. That's like me as a coach, isn't it? You'd be like, that wasn't a good performance. Like, you didn't do what we discussed here. You made these key errors. I need you to work on it. Otherwise, I might have to consider benching you. And like the way you synergized with your team was quite poor. Unfortunately, No, even the most harsh person on myself in the world, and people say that. People who are assholes are always like, no, it's a critical person on myself. And say, yeah, do you ever say that, though? You don't fucking go on a screaming match in your own face in the mirror like, what the fuck are you doing? Get your face in the game. You just think it inside your mind, if you ever do. And then, meanwhile, screaming in other people's faces, like, and then afterwards you're like, I'm as hard on myself as I am on you guys. Like, yeah, okay, mate. And it's going to be hard for a coach to actually be objective about himself and discuss his own play. In fact, dude, imagine that. Imagine the coach actually fucks up and then he uses like solo queue logic and he's like, well, it's your fault. If you'd have just known to go all in at that level, then we could have won that fight. Like, you don't want that scenario happening. Also, this is yet another person who can speak fucking Korean that Altec apparently can't speak, who's going to speak now to other people in Korean while Altec sat there like, I don't know what they're doing. It'd be rude to say. I won't say. And then they're just like, this Altec guy's kind of quiet. Doesn't seem like a team player to me in Korean, obviously. And then they're like, nah. That's yes in Korean. See what I did there? I'm actually above Altec's level. That jokes aside. He might know how to say that. In fact, I'd imagine the first thing he had to learn is how to say yes in Korean and just say that repeatedly. So anyway, there's the Winterfox moves. There's a bit of comedy there. Some actual serious analysis in general. I don't think these moves are going to actually affect them at all. As much as, I mean, they're probably not going to make the play. Well, let's face it, they're not going to make the playoffs. And even if they did, they wouldn't go far. I think they're already done at this point anyway. And they would need to make big roster moves at the end of the season anyway. So whatever. If this is an early roster move that helps out, that's fine. I can't see it having any big effect though. And I think actually, if I had to bet, I'd say actually it's probably going to have more of a negative effect overall. Even though, it's probably going to have more. Let's be realistic. It's going to have a negative effect. There is also the issue that they said apparently that one of the reasons for the roster move was to help with the attitude within the team. I forgot to say this, so I have to make a case there. Okay, actually, that's one area where I will acknowledge that at least changes might have had to happen in a way that you can't tell just from analysing game footage. Like maybe there was a negative atmosphere or certain players didn't get along together and it was just clear that that wasn't going to work out. I get that. That's actually something that's more understandable. I mean, I'd like it if it wasn't blamed on every single roster move in history because it's such an easy get out. Because essentially if you say to the public like, oh, well, this player's toxic or they didn't get along together, then the public isn't privy to it. They just have to accept your word at face value. Even though I get to find out sometimes from players behind the scene in different cases, not this one, that actually that was just made up or that wasn't the case and that even the players didn't think that, and that's just like the convenient excuse given. So I'll just put that out there to like be a little bit skeptical sometimes or not just accept it as gospel because one person said it. Now, with that said, though, I will make the point that part of the reason why people always say, oh, they didn't get along, like, yeah, guess what? When you're losing and you're getting your head fucking caved in and people are playing badly and then this guy is on the team, you don't even know why he's on the team, and then this guy doesn't even know how to communicate with you properly, yeah, you know what? There's going to be a negative vibe on the team there. Things aren't going to work awesome in that fashion. You're going to think, who the fuck are these guys? And there's not going to be the same camaraderie and chemistry. Part of chemistry as well is like, once you play off each other and it works, it's fun and it's work awesome, and then you can trust in that guy and all these extra aspects that part of it is winning that helps build this atmosphere up. It's very rare that a team came in, lost shit tons of times, kept losing, but then became champions and won later. Usually it goes the other way. They're really awesome early, they have the awesome chemistry, then magically people fall out and don't get along. Once they start to lose and it starts to go downhill totally to shit. And it's usually the worst at the period when they're at the worst in results. So that is worth saying that. Anyway, this video, like all my League of Legends related ones, was sponsored by Vulcan, and they have a fantasy LCS service. And if you want to sign up there and deposit money and play their fantasy LCS service, then if you use the promo code Thorin with 3 O's, so THOOORIN, then they'll match whatever your initial deposit is up to $1,000. So you can figure that out. You get a 100% bonus based up to $1,000. And you can make a fantasy team. There's all these different tournaments. Like there's tournaments for like $1, tournaments for like I think it's like $100. They have all different prize brackets. Basically, whatever level of money you want to put in and play with. You can play fantasy LCS. See if you can pick the best team. Win the competitions. If you do, you get the prize, whatever the prize purse is for first, second, third, wherever you are. So thanks to Vulcan for sponsoring me. And if you like the sound of that product, you can check it out and you can get the deposit bonus.